guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Maria, aka Agape Love Girl. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to be following Jaclyn Hill's video on how to make your makeup last all day. She literally just posted this last night on May 16th, and I watched it while I was doing the dishes in my fabulous, glamorous life. As I was watching her, and this is like no hate to her whatsoever, but I just couldn't help but think like, oh my goodness, there's just so much products, so much layering that I just found it very, very hard to believe, like, does this really, like, not questioning if it works, but does it actually look good? Because she does look flawless. She always looks good. But when I watched like everything she put on and like just powder upon powder and just layer upon layer, I'm just thinking, how does it not look cakey? I've got to try this for myself to see like how it really looks. More than anything, I'm not really worried about like the lastability. I'm just worried how it is gonna look actually on my face. Is my face gonna look cakey? She says no, but I'm curious to put that to the test, and I'm gonna show you guys what my face looks like close up, and yeah, all that. We'll see if Jaclyn Hill can make me look flawless. Also, some things to note, I do also have dry skin like she does. Right now I feel like it's pretty normaled out. Sometimes it's like it's a normal combination but always leans dry. Right now I feel like it's fairly normal. So and I am also someone who's not afraid of powders. I myself can actually pack on a lot of powder and go overboard with powder, and I'm sure people probably look at me and the way I do my makeup and think I'm layering on too much. So it's not like I'm trying to judge her. I definitely can pack on the layers too, but I was just surprised by how many more she did, and I just thinking, how does that not get cakey? I'm completely mind blown. So I really want to put it to the test. And then I have some similar products to her, but I don't have everything that she has. So I'm gonna try my best to do with what I have what she's doing. So, you know, bear with me there. I think the real question for me personally actually is, how does she wear sunglasses and not get the indentions? Because for me, I don't wear sunglasses. Every once in a while I'll wear sunglasses, but only if I'm not wearing makeup. Because when I wear makeup, you get the indentions and it pulls the makeup off. But she's always wearing sunglasses. How, Jaclyn? Is this how? Does it also help with the sunglasses thing or what? Because I need to know this.
First, when it comes to making sure that your makeup is gonna last all day long, it always starts with prepping of the skin. You absolutely need a primer no matter what your needs are. If you're oily, if you have large pores, whatever it may be, I suggest a primer. If you don't have a primer, just make sure that your skin has some tackiness to it, meaning cleanse and moisturize. Make sure though that it is not too tacky, it's not too sticky. There's a fine line, because if you start getting kind of like too greasy, too oily, and you put on too many serums, now the makeup is gonna slip right off, and it's gonna totally negate everything that we're gonna do over the next 30-40 minutes, however long this video takes.
Okay. When she was talking about prepping, I was thinking more, so I watched this last night and I already forgot some of the things. I thought she was talking more about like prepping my skin, but I have, just so you guys know, washed my face. I did use hyaluronic acid serum, and I have my eye cream on. I did my brows. She does her brows later in the video, but I just want to have mine already done. And yeah, I was all nodding my head about the primer, but I'm like, I hardly ever use primer. I have to like force myself to use primer, but I did grab a primer to use. Actually, I grabbed a few primers because I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to use. And just so you guys know, most of these products are not from my main makeup basket. I had to pull other stuff so I could kind of try to follow along with this tutorial, but anyways, let's...
I am going to prime. I'm using my favorite primer, which is really expensive and totally unnecessary, but once you start it, you can't stop, and it's just like sinful how good this is. It is by Sisley, and it is. It's the best one. It leaves your skin like the perfect amount of tackiness and just grabs onto your product and holds it forever.
She's just going in. I'm not sure. I have several different primers. I grabbed, oh god, they're falling. The No Problem primer, because I thought she wants something like somewhat tacky. This is not like super tacky or anything like that, but this does grip onto foundations, I noticed. I also have the Dermalogica Hydra Blur primer. I have my new Bioderma moisturizing concentrate primer, and then I also have this one because she kind of mentions one from Dr. Brandt that helps with pores, but I don't know if this is it or not, so I think it is because it's the Pores No More luminizing primer, so I might use this one too. So I think I use maybe the No Problem one. Should I? Smooth and pore covering up, or maybe I should do the hydrating one. What does the Sicily one do? I don't know. I had to really quickly look up the Sicily primer. It's like $100 something. Oh my god. But I just want to see like what kind of primer it was, because I'm trying to like do something similar. I don't know. I'm really unsure. But I think what I'm just gonna do is just go ahead and go in first with the No Problem primer and hope this is something similar. Oh, and by the way, don't mind my nails, 2 different colors. India Cosmetics is going to be releasing some nail polishes. And the owner sent me the 4 that they have. Oh crap, I forgot to have my brows on. I need to be careful of that. The 4 that she has started out with, and they're like the Chrome Blessed ones. They shift colors. Look at this. Oh my god, so cool. So I was testing them out.
But primer is not the only thing that's going to make your makeup last. If you don't have the right techniques and do the right routine and use the right products, it doesn't matter how good your primer is, it's still gonna slip away throughout the day. That's just my personal opinion.
But I use the right products. Jaclyn, what does that mean? Does that mean this isn't gonna work?
But how fetch is my straw with my background?
Quit trying to make fetch happen. It's not gonna happen.
I'm going to put another primer on top.
Oh,
only
another
the
primer.
T-zone.
Okay, see?
This again is by Sicily. Totally not necessary to do this step whatsoever, but it's something that I've been doing recently and I see a really big difference. This is a pore minimizing primer. There's also a really great one by Dr. Brandt. You can get it at Sephora. No, Ulta. Maybe Sephora, but definitely Ulta. And it really, like if you have deep pores, really fills it in. I only do this on the T-zone because this is the only issue where I see pores. Thank you. This is what happened at 28 years old. It's like all of a sudden I see pores all over my nose and I'm like, great. So we're just going to fill those bad boys in so I don't have to worry about it when I'm putting my concealer and foundation on. I really am sweating.
I think I made a mistake doing my brows first. Look at this. I totally forgot because lately I've been doing my brows last. That's like one of the last things I've been doing. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to fix this later. So you guys are gonna have to look at this wonky looking brow / brows through this video. My apologies. All right, let's move on.
I'm going to be going in with, as always, the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. This is not technically a long wear foundation. It just says that it's medium to full coverage and it's oil free. I personally don't think that you need a full coverage or long wear foundation in order to make your makeup last all day. It's just about the way that you apply it and the way you set it. So any foundation that you have will absolutely work, people. I'm going to go in with a damp beauty sponge. Once again, make sure that it is damp. It doesn't want to be
and I've got the Morphe one too.
You should be able to squeeze it really hard in like a paper towel or an actual towel or something and not feel water going like seeping out of it. It should be nice and damp but not wet, because if it's wet, you're not going to get as much product on the skin. You're not going to be able to press it in the skin, and if it's too dry, it's going to be the same thing. It's just going to sit on your sponge and it's not going to be pressed in to the pores. So when you are applying it with a damp sponge, you really want to make sure that you're pressing. I mean, let's not be like too rough on your face and like beat the poo out of yourself, but like you really want to make sure that you are pressing this into the skin really well. I like to start off with a thin layer. All right, so now I have one thin layer on my face, and that's not enough. You can stop here and go on with the rest of the video, go on with the rest of the routine, but because I just personally want more full coverage, I'm gonna continue to build a little bit more of it.
Oh wait, that's not enough for her. Okay. I'm just gonna continue with the rest of my one layer.
Skin kind of vigorously, making sure that's really getting into my pores. I do use a magnetic mirror so I can see really closely, see if it's settling anywhere, and I really just sit there and focus on just jamming it into my pores.
I just use this hand mirror.
Now we're gonna go in with concealer.
Not ready for concealer. Hold on. Okay, let me just do this real quick. All right, I think I'm ready for concealer. She said she was gonna use the Shape Tape. I used to have Shape Tape, love it, but I haven't repurchased it because I have too many other concealers. I'm gonna be using the liquid Glamifage concealer from Catrice. So let's see what else she has to say.
Now we're gonna go in with concealer. As always, using the Tarte Shape Tape concealer. Make sure if you want long-lasting makeup that you are not using something that is too creamy with too much oil in it. I definitely prefer something a little bit thicker because of the fact that it does sit on the skin a little bit nicer. For me personally, if I use something too creamy and too sheer, it just kind of moves around in my fine lines and my wrinkles. So I like to use something a little bit more full coverage. Even if I'm going for a more sheer look, you can get that with a full coverage concealer. You just use a really tiny amount of it and then just spread it around.
She talks about using a little tiny bit of something, but she just uses so much. And then this concealer, I would say it's like a good in-between. It's not, oh god, this scared me. It's not super emollient or oily, like she was saying, but it's also, it's a little bit more on the dry side, but it's not drying, so that's why I really like it. So normally I don't put this much, but I'm kind of just trying to copy her. God, she puts it everywhere. I used to do a lot of this too, but I just found it was just too much, and especially on my nose. Too much product does not look good on my nose. She's got it everywhere. I try to avoid putting too much product on my nose, because it never looks good. So this is where I start to get questioned. But she starts.
All right, now we're just gonna go in and blend all of that out. I use shade light medium because it's just a little bit lighter than my foundation, but not too much lighter. So I don't want to make sure. We are blending, we are beating, we are living, we are dying, we are peeing, we are seeing, we are dreaming, laughing, sneezing, gagging, peeing. I'm gonna use the tip of that beauty sponge and blend that out. The entire time I basically look up because I wanna make sure that I get that product really into all those little crevices. I know it sounds kind of weird, like why would you wanna put it in the crevices if it's gonna end up creasing, right? But no, actually as you look up and you do this, you'll look up again and you'll set it with powder, and that's what will keep it like in its place and not moving at all. We'll get to that in a second. I also like to make sure that I get in really nice and deep.
Jaclyn, this is a family-friendly page here.
On the sides of my nose, because otherwise it will settle and crease in here throughout the day on me. So I like to really make sure that I get that concealer in those little cracks of my nose, and then I will set it really intensely later so that nothing happens.
For me personally, I like to use the least amount of products like around here in my smile lines and on my nose, because I don't want to get that cracking and creasing of my smile lines, but I never thought about just jamming more product in there, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay, and then I paused it right when she said she's gonna get the Shade and Light palette. I don't have that. I have something else I forgot to grab. I'll have to go grab that. Something somewhat similar-ish. So she's got the Shade and Light palette. I have this, I pretty much decluttered all of my contour kit type palettes. Like this. This is the only one I kept, so this is what we're gonna do. It's similar enough with the, you know, yellow lighter shades and then the contour shades. So let's hope. So let's turn her back on, see what she says.
I'm obsessed. I'm gonna use the lightest shade in the palette and I'm gonna put it on my sponge just like this.
I like to use my sponge with powders like this under my eyes as well, but she said she's gonna use the lightest one. I'm gonna use a mixture of the yellow and this one, because I do have dark circles that I like. And I'm already looking so white like this.
And first thing I do is set my under eye before I go on to the rest of my face for many different reasons. The reason I set my under eye first is because this is going to make sure that it does not crease throughout the day, which is obviously what this video is about, making sure that we last, right? I also do this because just using a little bit of powder underneath your under eye is going to make it so that your under eye concealer does not move, because as you make facial expressions, like every single human being does, naturally your concealer is going to want to move around. It's going to get settled up into all the little fine lines and creases that we all have, and it's gonna ball up, and then you're gonna look in the mirror after a couple hours and be like, oh, what's going on? And you're gonna have to like tap it out. So just by looking up and putting a little bit of powder underneath your eye right off the bat, you're gonna stop all of that from happening.
This is one thing I do. I don't use usually like this. Oh God. I do usually use some kind of translucent setting powder or some kind of setting powder, but I do like to always set under my eyes first, and I do typically like to use a sponge to do that. I just like do and press it all right in there. Kind of similar to this, but I don't know if it's quite the same.
So now to set the face. If you are someone who is afraid of powder, you gotta get over it and you gotta embrace it.
I'm not
I used to be afraid of powder because I was so dry that every powder made my face just look drier and like crepey, and I almost felt like it brought attention to like little wrinkles, and I just wanted my skin to look dewy and alive, so I never wanted to use powder. That's because I wasn't using the right powder. So I have discovered recently, you guys have seen me talk about this a million times, this is the Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder.
I don't have the Hourglass Veil.
I love, love, love this for dry skin because it almost has like a little bit of like glow to it. Not shimmer, nothing noticeable, but it just feels so good and like hydrating on the skin. If you are more on the normal to oily side, I would suggest the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder.
Do you have the Cover FX Perfect Setting
Powder? This is the best powder
now.
ever when it comes to baking.
Brand new one right here.
It covers you up and it keeps you matte, and it
And if she uses that later in the video.
works. It's amazing. So for now, I'm gonna go in with my beauty sponge again.
Okay, so because she doesn't use that, she uses something a little bit more illuminating. I wanted to see if I had something similar, and I really don't. I do have this. I recently bought this. Is the Too Faced DeLu Translucent Radiant Nude setting powder, and it's a glowing one, but it does, she had mentioned that the Hourglass one doesn't have any noticeable shimmer. This one kind of does, so I kind of don't want to use that. So what I did is I have this, and this is actually not, it looks like the Cover FX one. This is my new one. This is an old one that's empty that I filled with some other powder, and what it is a mixture of this e.l.f. under eye setting powder, the Midnight Banana powder, and then I put a little bit of this DeLu in there just this morning to add a little bit of that luminosity and glow, and I'm gonna try to use that the way she's using this. I know it's totally different. I might mess this up, but we're improvising here, so that's what I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna just hit it right there in the Hourglass powder. And the reason I'm using my beauty sponge and not a brush is because I have found that pressing the powder into the skin makes it last longer throughout the day.
I put too much, I think.
So it's really making sure that you're going over every square inch of your face and using a little bit at a time will not make you look dry. Once you've put the powder on, you're in a good place. You can talk, you can move, you can take a break. So
she's going on with the fan. I got a fan too. I'm so glad to have my fan back like this. All last week pretty much, the batteries had died on me and I hadn't had time to charge it, so I had to use my hand fan like a peasant. Just kidding. Also, my face is starting to itch. I just have to say, like, I'm trying not to touch it because I feel like I have so much product that if I scratch anything, it'll probably like gouge the product off and look totally obvious. So I'm like, I'm trying not to like touch anything, but I'm like, I feel itchy, and I don't know if it's because there's so much product on or what, but I'm actually really hot doing this now too.
I definitely feel like there's some areas that aren't like looking like flawlessly smooth, and I just kind of want to like even out my skin tones. I'm gonna grab a brush. I'm just going in with any brush. This is just a blush brush, honestly. I'm gonna pick up some of my Charlotte Tilbury powder in the shade 1, and I'm just going to gently put a little bit of that small layer once again over my cheeks. And I know it seems like, oh my gosh, she's using so much powder. If I use that, I would be so dry. You really won't, because you have to go in with a small amount of everything, and then we'll spray it with setting spray, go over it again, and that's what's going to make it last for so long and not crease and not look dry and crusty.
Okay. She's going in with another powder, and I feel like I do have plenty of coverage. I feel like I have too much coverage, to be honest, but I want to do what she's doing. I want to see, like, can I get away with, can a 34-year-old woman get away with this? Probably no. I already feel like my face looks cracky and creasy and not pleasant. Okay, I have a few powders that I bring over here. I have my Bye Bye Pores Illumination. It just adds a little bit of a luminosity. I have one of my favorites, the Milani Multitasker. And then I have the Catrice Prime and Fine Mattifying Powder, waterproof, transparent. I'm not, she said she used the Charlotte Tilbury something. I think I'm just going to use this like little bit of illuminating Bye Bye Pores Illumination Radiant Translucent Powder. And then she used a blush brush, so I'm going to use this one from Stilazzi. It's their angled blush. I'm just going to do a little bit, lightly. Oh god. I don't think this looks good. This doesn't look good on me.
So now that we are all completely flat and mattified.
Okay, all completely flat and matte. Oh, I should have used something matte. Oh man.
I'm gonna go in with some setting spray. I would not recommend using a setting spray that has oil in it. So I'm gonna go in with the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist right here. Kind of reminds me of MAC Fix Plus in an aerosol can. Okay, I have this, but it's almost gone. So we'll see if I can get enough use for this. Otherwise, I did bring over my Makeup Forever Mist and Fix. This stuff is amazing. We're just gonna spray. I'm gonna just give like a light little, I'm like just keeping it really light and really casual, you know? So just like, it's no big deal, just like a subtle mist. I'm gonna sit there and just dry that off. Keep my eyes closed, and honestly at this point you should not be talking, because as you talk you're moving the muscles in your face and you're gonna get settling in all of your fine lines. So you should just sit there like a mannequin and let it dry. This would be a great time if you felt like you put on too much powder and your skin's looking like cakey or crusty whatsoever, to go back with your damp beauty sponge and just go over those areas.
Oh my god.
You would be.
This I have also tried, and I'm afraid. This is something I've tried to do when I felt like my makeup was just too much or too cakey and I was trying to adjust it. And I've tried to go over back with a damp beauty sponge and almost like lifts the product up, especially even after I do setting spray. So I'm kind of afraid, but she's doing this. I'm gonna do it. I don't feel like I need to, but I'm going to, just to see if it will like not lift anything up.
Surprised how well this works. If it's just like, oh gosh, too much, it really will press everything into the skin and make your makeup really come together and look much more flawless and get rid of like that kind of crusty look. All right, so now we're gonna bronze this.
Bronze. We're gonna bronze.
I'm gonna be using the shade Icon by Morphe.
Okay, I gotta stop for a minute because I feel like I'm not dry yet, and I'm not ready to go in with a bronzer on this still somewhat dewy face. Oh, something I did want to note though is that spraying my face after I do foundation, concealer, and powder is something that I do like to do, that I've done for a long time, before I go in with bronzer and all that. I think I've mentioned it before on my channel, but I like to spray my face 3 times. Not all the time. I don't do this with every time I do my makeup, but I usually do like to spray my face 3 times with setting spray. I do foundation, concealer, powder, setting spray, and I like to usually let it set for a bit. And I feel like that kind of just really seals in. It seals the deal. Seals in my base. Let that fully dry. Then I go in with bronzer and blush. Spray it again. That kind of helps meld everything together. And then I'll do the highlight on top of that. And then I'll spray it again with setting spray to seal like everything together. And then for me, what I actually like to do is I don't typically like to use the Morphe setting spray with my first set, because I feel like this one is actually more of a dewy setting spray, and I feel like it leaves my skin, see, even now, and I've let it dry, it leaves my skin feeling a little bit tacky, and I don't like that for if I'm going to go with another powder product on top of it, especially with a brush. I feel like it's just going to move product around, but maybe I'm wrong. That's just how I've always felt, because I feel like my skin's still tacky. So I usually like to go in with a matte setting spray or a mattifying setting spray, or even this one is really great. It's not necessarily mattifying, but it just like sets everything perfectly. It doesn't leave you dewy or matte or dry feeling, but you're set. Anyways, I will usually use this something like the last step for a more natural kind of a look. But anyways, I just wanted to insert my thoughts there. I feel like this is, it's like dry-ish, but still feels a little bit like I'm literally feeling still so tacky. But I am going to go ahead and go in with bronzer now. I'm going to use this one from my makeup basket this month. This is the Bahama Mama bronzer from The Balm. And she, I know for certain, uses a big old fluffy brush. And normally I use like a small, more precision brush. I know she goes in with a big old brush, so I'm going to try to do the same thing, because we're trying to do the same thing Jaclyn Hill's doing.
And a really big fluffy brush, and just go in and keep that bronzer up on the higher portion of the face. Since I know that I'm gonna go in and be baking today, I will allow myself to be sloppier. If I knew that I didn't have time to bake, then I would be much more precise in going in with a different brush, but I know that I'm gonna be able to clean up, so I don't really care. Now that we have bronzer on.
She did all her bronzer and skipped right past that, so I'm gonna do my bronzer. She said we could be sloppy, and I was a little bit sloppy, and I just yeah, just let's hope we could fix this. And I am noticing I've got like crazy creasing all up in here. And I think that's just due to all the powder, because normally that, and also maybe just using too much of that concealer, because normally that concealer does not crease on me at all. So I'm not loving the way this is looking just yet, but we'll see. We still have quite a bit more of this video to get through too. So
the face, I'm gonna go in and I'm going to bake. Baking is a crucial part in making your makeup last throughout the entire
I know she uses this. This is my brand new one. I gotta open up.
Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder right here. Same sponge I used the entire time. I'm gonna go ahead.
Okay, dang it! I thought I was recording and I wasn't recording for the bake. But anyways, I feel like this looks super weird. This is way higher than I normally would take up. I usually, when I contour or bronze, like I bring it just a little bit lower than this. This just seems very weird to me, but anyways, this is what she does. And then she does go ahead and say she's gonna go off camera, let this like set and bake, and she's gonna do her brows and eyes off camera. So thankfully I need to fix my brows, so it'll give me some time to let this bake, and I'll be right back to join her. Alright guys, I am back, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do my eyes, but I decided to go ahead and do my eyes, and I decided to do something very similar to what Jaclyn did, because I just thought it was really pretty. I'm not sure what she uses or used, because she didn't put anything in her description box, not even of the stuff she used on her face for this video, which would have been really helpful, although I'm sure she probably maybe didn't do it because people tend to give her crap about it, especially how expensive some of the stuff she uses. Like when I looked at the Sicily primer and I was like, okay. So I get it, but anyways, so I don't know what she used on her eyes, but I just decided to kind of recreate something similar. I have it kind of paused right here. Sorry, that's very not so flattering. But it looks like kind of like an orangey red smoky eye with a purple in the waterline. So I actually just used her Ring the Alarm palette. So what I did was use a little bit of Rush right here in the transition, kind of up higher, and then right here Alert for the crease, and then I put Framed, this one, all over the lid, and then just kind of mimic the same thing down to my lower lash line. And then for my waterline, I used this Aqua XL eye pencil from Makeup Forever in the shade M80. It's more of a dark plummy purple, where it looks like she has something a little bit more vibrant purple in her waterline. I could be totally wrong, but that's what I did. So I think it looks really, really pretty. It was really, really quick and simple because, like I said, I kind of just decided last minute, oh, I might as well do my eyes, and I just did it super quick. And then a little bit of highlight is just the same highlight that I'm going to put on my face, which was from the face palette that she did with Becca, and I just used Champagne Pop there. But before we do get on with the rest of the video, I just want to say that, like, the way my face is looking right now is it's not looking pretty. I'm gonna put some close-ups so you can see, but things are looking really crusty, especially right here. And I'm kind of uncertain how this really is gonna turn out on me, if this is actually gonna look good. But surprisingly though, for the rest of my face, now that I have kind of like calmed down and everything has like settled on my face, it doesn't look as cakey as I thought it was going to be. So I'm actually really, really surprised, with the exception of, like I said, right here around my jawline where it looks really, really crusty. But we'll see what it looks like once I take the bake off. And then additionally, I took this footage before I was finishing up my eyes, because I noticed once I put some eyeshadow on my lower lash line, it cleaned it up and you couldn't see. But I decided to take some close-up footage of my eyes and how creasy it looked under there before I put on some eyeshadow, because the eyeshadow kind of helped take away that creasing and just dried it up there. But it was majorly creasing under my eyes, and I normally don't get creasing that bad. But of course, I don't normally use that much product either. So I just think, you know, everything in moderation. Do and you know, take tips and tricks and put them to work the best way that works for you. You don't have to do exactly like somebody else. Of course, I wanted to do exactly like Jaclyn today to kind of just see. I was just really curious, but I wouldn't repeat that as much product there as she did again, but now I know.
All right, so at this point, I have been sitting here with this bake on, if you will, for about 20 minutes as I did my eyebrows and my eyeshadow. And
I think I only had it on for like 10 minutes, maybe 15 maybe. Okay, she starts. I'm gonna use this. Oh wait, what is she using? Do I have something more similar to that? Maybe. It seems I want to use something more similar to her, so I'm taking it off very gently because I'm kind of scared. So it looks like she's using something similar like this. So I'm gonna do that. Okay.
if you are oily and you don't suffer with dry skin, you can bake your under eye for like 15 minutes and your makeup is not gonna go anywhere, which I can do that too. But if I do that, I then have to go in with a ton of setting spray to really, like, what's the word, emulsify it, just like really blend it like into the skin and make it one again, because it will dry my under eye out big time. Like, I love the Rihanna setting powder, like the lavender shade, so much, but it does dry my under eye out a lot, so I have to go with a lot of setting spray afterwards.
It's like,
speaking of that, I want to give you guys one quick tip on how to refresh your makeup. Let's say you get ready in the morning, you go to work, and then at lunchtime you want to like touch up real quick. Touching up your makeup is actually...
pause this real quick. She's talking about refreshing her makeup. I gotta get this bake off. What the heck? I think this brush is a little too soft, a little too flimsy. Well, that's kind of getting it off. It looks so weird though. Does it look weird? I feel like there's still a ton of powder right here I need to get off. Oh my god. This just looks too obvious. See, for me, even when I go clean up, like with a little bit of powder down here, because I do something similar. I don't bake, but I do put powder in there and then kind of blend over it. I still kind of will go over with a little bit more, or with my brush, whatever brush I use for bronzer or contour, and just lightly, no excess product, just lightly go over it. But that harsh line, I don't know if I care for the way that looks. Okay, but that's coming off a little bit better than I thought. Okay, so now...
A lot easier than a lot of people think. And all you need is a setting spray, your damp beauty sponge. You can use any setting spray, honestly. You can use the Morphe continuous setting sprays, which that's what I used earlier. Or you can take like a little compact guy with you like this. This is the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. If you're really dry, I would suggest something like this. All you're gonna do is spray it directly on your sponge. Get a little on there. Make sure it's not soaked. I always kind of like press it on my hand first, and then just go in and tap it over your face. Tap it over the under eye, tap it over the chin, tap it over anything, and it will get any additional product that's like sitting in any creases. If you're starting to look cakey whatsoever, or if things are even fading away, you can do this and then go in and apply a little bit more powder over top.
So I'm gonna try that because it is looking a little bit cakey right here, and I'm kind of worried. This is also one of the parts where I was worried about, like, yeah, right, you can't go back over, and I said this earlier, with a damp sponge because it messes stuff up. It pulls up the product. For me, that's been my experience in the past. So I was really skeptical about trying this, but actually, wait, is it working? Usually it picks up product and leaves like little dots on my skin, but not like dots from like this or anything, but like where my pores are, where it pulls the makeup off. It's not doing that so far, so I'm gonna add a little bit more then and tap that off. So maybe I just need to, this little tip is what's doing it. So right here is where it was looking really crusty, especially, so I wanna, this actually doesn't look bad.
I'm gonna toss on some blush. I'm gonna go in with MAC Cosmetics Peaches. This is one of my favorite blush colors ever. It's super universal. And I'm going to just put this on the cheeks. Something that I like to do is put a little extra blush when I get ready. When you think you're done, do like one more layer, because blush does tend to fade so fast. No matter if you're oily, dry, it doesn't matter your skin type, it's gonna be the fastest thing to fade on your face, more so than eyeshadow or anything else.
I'm going on with an extra layer, even though this one is very, very pigmented, so
I'm gonna take a little bit more of that same Kat Von D powder from earlier, and I'm going to bring it from the corner down. I just kind of...
I already put that powder away that I used under my originally, so I'm just gonna go back in with that first powder that was a mix of a bunch of stuff.
Scoop it towards the blush, and you'll see the difference between this side of my face and this side, that this is just gonna bring a little bit more light.
Is there a difference?
And almost like a filter effect to the cheeks. It's also gonna lighten up the blush just a little bit. If you're feeling like you are too dry and powdery at this point, do not do this step, totally skip it. I'm just doing it because my skin is looking really good. And also the setting spray has a lot to do with that. I'm gonna go in with a little bit more of the Charlotte Tilbury powder in number 2. And this time I'm not using it like on my face because that would be way too much. I'm gonna actually use it just to stamp along the bottom half of my cheek. You can see I'm like literally carving out, because I feel like that bake, yeah, it did a great job, but it felt a little messy, especially here in the front. So I'm just gonna stamp that in.
Okay, well, I'm just taking the sponge with whatever's left on there. I'm not gonna do more.
So we don't have like a super harsh line, but still, it's gonna clean it up. I'm gonna go in my Lancome Absolute powder. I'm gonna put a little bit of that on my face. I'm not gonna highlight intensely today. I'm only gonna use this powder. I'm gonna put it on the apples, and then just drag it back, keeping it kind of low on the cheeks, just to kind of like bring this entire cheek to life.
Oh, okay, that's a highlight. So she's going in with highlighter already. She used a Lancome one. I'm gonna use hers, her Champagne Pop Toast, something like that. And start going in. She says she was going to do it light, but she ends up going heavy. I do recall that, so we're going to do this.
I'm going to put it on the apples, and then just drag it back, keeping it kind of low on the cheeks, just to kind of like bring this entire cheek to life. I'm like, listen guys, I'm really gonna keep this highlight really, really simple. So now before I put on my lip or my bottom mascara on my lashes, I'm going to spritz my face one more time with the exact same setting spray. I'm gonna do like a nice fine mist over my entire face. And again, the key when you're doing this...
Oh, I think I'm running out. Oh, and it's getting splatty. Hold on. I'm gonna use this. I feel like I didn't put enough highlighter on. I feel like I'm in like a race. I need to just calm down. Oh, this stuff is amazing. Oh, I love it. Okay. Gonna fan myself.
Very subtle, very subtle.
She's fanning herself, so let's turn this back on.
The tip is to not talk, not do anything while it's drying down, because that's when you're gonna get creases. So try to keep your face as still as possible. Once your face is pretty dry, if you wanna make your highlight pop even more.
Highlight pop.
What did I say about keeping my highlight settled today?
Make a highlight pop.
Just said. So I'm gonna really keep it settled. But if you wanna make it pop even more, you can go back in at this point, and because you just sprayed that spray, it's gonna make it beam a lot harder, and it actually looks really natural if you do this technique. Do your highlight after.
I don't think it looks natural, but
you spray a setting spray. I'm gonna press that into the skin. So again, I don't want to
get
get
into
too
the
intense. Absolutes. Okay, let me throw on a lip and my bottom mascara, and I'll be right back.
She does a lip and then mascara off camera. I'm gonna do the same thing. All right, I am back. I did put on some mascara. I didn't do false lashes because I really just wasn't in the mood for it. It is a Friday, so I don't have any plans. I know that sounded like I was gonna be like, I have plans. I don't have any plans. So anyways, I didn't feel like putting on lashes was the thing, is I just don't feel like wearing them. But I did go ahead and throw in a lip because I thought, you know, why not? Jaclyn had on a nice pretty nude lip, and mine's a nude, but mine's a little bit of a darker nude lip, and I think it looks really, really good. I just used the City Lips matte in the shade Pink Taupe. So I think that looked really good. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about this makeup and Jaclyn's techniques and tips. Surprisingly, I am shocked to say that I think it looks really, really good. And I honestly, like, I'm kind of speechless about it, because I really didn't think it was going to pull together. There was a few points doing this that I was like, this is starting to look crusty, it's starting to look creasy, I don't think this is gonna look good, this is too much product, there's just no way it's gonna pull together and look good as well as feel good. And surprisingly, it looks really good. I mean, I'm looking at myself in the viewfinder, and you guys can probably see, like, I feel like it looks really, really beautiful, clearly. I mean, Jaclyn's not going to steer us wrong with like a tutorial and you know, and you're not going to not feel beautiful, but I was more so wondering, like, how is it going to feel on the face? How is it going to look? Because I'm pretty sure, I could be totally wrong and speculating, but when I watch her videos, it totally looks like she has some kind of filter, like smoothing filter on her skin. So it's like, does it really look that smooth? I'm really, really curious. But this really does look pretty decent. And considering the amount of product that I put on my face, it actually does not look cakey, and I'm really surprised by that. The spots that were kind of looking a little bit creasy and cakey earlier do not, because of the little sponge tip thing where you sprayed it and then, you know, tapped it off, and I kind of went over it in those areas. It really did work. Not that I thought Jaclyn would steer us wrong, but I've attempted something like that before, and it's never really worked for me. But then again, I didn't really do it quite how she did it, so that could be why. And also, I was just thinking, like, you know, if this doesn't look that good on me, if it doesn't really work, it really could be because of, you know, there is an age difference. Jaclyn is in her 20s. I am 34. Now, I do take very good care of my skin, but I don't have super youthful skin. As well, I do think she has said that she's gotten, like, Botox and fillers and things like that. I don't really know, like, all the details of face stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure she said she's had Botox and stuff like that, which I have not. So my skin is not a smooth canvas to begin with, so I just thought, like, if anything, that could be the reason why it doesn't look as good as her. But still, I really wanted to put these tips and just her tutorial to the test. And see, could somebody pull off, somebody who's not her age, somebody who doesn't have Botox, somebody who doesn't have perfectly clear skin or smooth skin, could they pull it off? And I kind of think that yes, you probably could, because this is looking a lot better than I thought it would, and even still, it's feeling a lot better than I thought it would. I just thought, like, with all the product I kept seeing her put on her face, just more and more, and even, like, while I was doing, like, more powder, we're doing more powder, like, even that, like, my skin feels really, really good. Like, it doesn't, and it's not feeling like tacky or anything like I don't like when stuff feels tacky on, you know, my hands. My skin still feels pretty good. I do feel warm, I will say that. I feel pretty warm, and that's probably because I do have so much product on my face. So, like, I do have my little fan here, and I kind of want to Oh, it's no wonder she kept doing that because dang. But anyways, aside from that, I think it feels really good. Looking up close, I'm not seeing any creasing or cracking or anything like that. I will say just the tiniest bit right here in the crease of my nose, I feel like there's a little bit of cracking, but nothing major. So I'm really actually very, very surprised by that, like pleasantly surprised by that. And I keep like kind of staring at myself in the viewfinder, like loving the way my skin looks, and really shocked at the fact that it doesn't look really cakey or makeup-y. Like, I'm honestly shocked. This looks really, really good. I think what I want to also do is take you guys in some natural light and see how it looks. I haven't even looked at this in natural light. This is just under my studio lights here. I have 2 umbrella lights and then the light behind me. So obviously things do tend to look a lot better like this. And I want to see what it looks like in natural light and show you guys what it looks like in natural light as well. Alright guys, I'm in my bathroom in front of the window where I get the best natural light. And I am shocked that it actually looks really, really natural. Even in the natural light, it looks really, really good. You guys tell me. I'm showing you guys up close footage of my face and skin, and I am really, really surprised by the results. I think actually, I was thinking about it, that the real test of how this looks will be when my husband gets home, and I'll see if he makes any comments, or maybe I'll ask him what he thinks of my makeup, my skin. Because this is not to put him down or anything, he's always very loving and complimentary of me and my makeup and stuff like that, but he will not be afraid to tell me if he thinks that, you know, my makeup looks a little bit off a certain day, or if it looks like too cakey, or looks just different and not the best how it usually is. And the funny thing is those are always days when like I'm trying something new and it's a product that maybe is too cakey, and I agree with him and he catches that, and I don't mind him saying something, because I like when he's honest with me, like if my face looks good, if it looks too cakey. So I do trust his opinion, and so it'll be interesting to see what he says about this. Alright, so that wraps it up for my video. It seems Jaclyn has not steered us wrong, and I, again, am very, very pleasantly surprised, like emphasis on surprise, that everything looks so, so good. Does not feel cakey, does not look cakey, and really does look almost just as good as she does in her videos, which I wasn't expecting whatsoever. So anyways, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video and seeing me test out Jaclyn's tips and tricks on myself and seeing what I think. I'd love to know what you guys think. Would you be willing to try her tips and tricks and do the full face the way she did, or do you plan on modifying them for yourself? I definitely think I will modify them for myself a little bit. I don't imagine wanting to go through this whole full thing every time I do my makeup, but maybe for the days that I'm really wanting to like have my makeup last, and if I'm going somewhere to an event or a party or going out on a date or whatever the case may be, I might do this, but other than that I'll probably just modify it. But I definitely recommend it. So there it is. But again, I just want to thank you so, so much for watching, and until next time, much love and hugs to you. Bye, beauty babes. Mwah!